Hello, I got sick. I went to a convention and then came back and recorded the episodes so far. And then by the end of that day, I was like, I might be in some trouble here. And so I've taken a day off of just laying around and being tired. And I kind of want to just come back and try to do this and see if I can, how well I can do it for an episode or two, or if I can do a day. I don't know. I'm in a weird space where I just kind of feel tired, but my symptoms aren't very bad. And I don't know if my throat will get like sore over the course of it or not, but I'm stir crazy and feel weird about sitting around because I was already gone for a whole week, and that's why, which is how I got sick. So getting sick from a vacation is the worst, because then you're like, well, I just didn't work for that amount of time. I can't now take a second mandatory shittier vacation. That's not a good idea. So I'm gonna try to get back on track, and we'll see if I can do that. I'm deeply amused by the fact that according to this thing, I've played for 4 hours and I've done nothing of any kind. Hopefully I made the choices that you make people enjoy this playthrough and didn't just like ruin it out the gate and everyone stopped watching, but this game has proved to have an unusual structure going in. I think the original playthrough was like 40 parts. I think the original playthrough was about 40 parts, and those were back when we had like maybe 20 to 30 minute episodes. So if we assume 30 minute episodes, then those 42 parts would have taken about 21 episodes now. So the fact that we're already a fifth of that duration and I haven't gotten a single percentage of progress point yet is deeply funny. But this game did some interesting stuff with the screwing with your expectations, showing Elohim, and maybe making you wonder if it's restarting and going back, and then doing very different things with it. Then just giving us a massive open optional hub to explore. Okay.
Am I in sleep mode, or did that thing just materialize out of thin air?
Melville, I want an analysis of that particle cloud.
On it. Anyone got a butterfly in it?
That was new data. Can I get up there? Okay. The unexpected thing here is that, compared to what I thought was happening, that appears to be real. Until now, when I saw the cloud and the weird Prometheus thing, especially the Prometheus thing, like I just thought it was a hologram, because it was just a big, giant humanoid figure that appeared and disappeared. Could still be kind of true. It might have been that the shit. Okay, so you have to go up there to get there, huh? Which is a already set up place we couldn't get to because there's a missing staircase here. For now. But ultimately it could have been kind of like a hologram, but not made of light. Could have been a projection made of the what appeared to be nanomachines. It looks like those nanomachines just built that entire thing in front of us. So it does contain physical matter. It's not just a light projection. What could go wrong? We're not even gonna chat about it? Okay, I'll just hop on. Look at my weird little bare feet.
I'm connecting the transport system to our interface. Hold on.
Oh. Well, this looks like the percentage, the stuff. Main puzzles, lost puzzles, gold puzzles, lost labs, stars. Interesting to have it so spelled out, even named as being like types of optional puzzles. Hand? Oh, these are the things I read earlier. Okay, we'll have to see if the I fully explored it out of fear, essentially, but we'll see if maybe the games, if the city comes up again later, and maybe things progress and you re-explore it every act or something like that, or maybe you really do just walk around, get a feel for the world, and then leave forever. I'm wondering if the voice thing will pop up again that I got. Anyway, Grasslands Ring East 1, an artificial ring-like structure on the wide lowlands east of our base camp.
Where is the capsule taking 1K?
To that enclosed area in the eastern lowlands. I put all the information we have on the map screen. Check out your interface.
Thanks. Sorry, my bad.
We'll catch up with you soon, 1K.
Somewhat paradoxically, I didn't fully explore the last area. So when I get back to what appears to be the hub, I'll poke around a bit more. As you might imagine, after I'm getting a little nervous and antsy about finding normal puzzles.
Magnificent. Look at that tower. I wonder what it's for.
Weird beams. Well, that's very dramatic. What's striking is that it's not just that it's big and dramatic and stuff, but like this game is very aesthetically different from the first game, which makes sense because that was all a simulation and this is the real world, so it's a different entire existence. That was the dissonance that happened when the opening was just a familiar area again. It was like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Because this place shouldn't exist anymore. And then we realized it was the simulation still. But like the new version of it, which is that it's in people's dreams, that's where Elohim lives on in some way. Lives on in concept, if not in direct reality, because of the nature of copy-pasting stuff means that you make a separate copy of something and functionally delete the original one. So Elohim's very dead. 1. 2. The question's gonna be, do these puzzles look like... Yeah, they do, don't they? So you have the purple barriers. I can see the receptacle already. The receiver. Which makes sense mechanically. Like, both because it's a series that's building off its own mechanics. It'd be weird to throw all the old mechanics away. And it also makes sense because the game had that whole intro, which would only make sense to returning players if those mechanics didn't come back. It'd be very confusing anti-tutorial if it wasn't actually establishing the mechanics you're going to deal with. But that does mean that for some reason reality is recreating Elohim's simulation, which means that then needs to be explained in the narrative as to why that's happening. RGB shifting.
Is that a puzzle?
Why would there be a puzzle?
Let's solve it and find out. 1K, go ahead.
I have a reoccurring nightmare just like this.
I have a recurring nightmare just like this.
That device was not in the simulation.
So yeah, you combine the other two beams to create the third color. Okay, so yeah, this thing is not a connector. It's something new. Blue. So yeah, textually, everyone is like, okay, what the fuck? Why is there a puzzle here? So everyone's on the same page that this is weird, and that this is their shared memory. Like, this is calling back to what they experienced, both before, what some of them experienced if they were one of the first people, which one of us is, I think, and no one else is. And then for everyone else, it's the thing that they experience in their dreams, which has to be a deeply surreal thing to see in real life, because if you didn't even experience it in the simulation at all, but only as a dream, that's even stranger. The progress wheel.
Whoa, I'm reading an enormous energy spike.
It's another particle cloud.
Where you going? You going into the receptacle over here that I saw?
It's headed for the lake.
Nope. I thought I was going to go in that, but that is open to indicate that we've done one of the two things. And yeah, I can't go through till I finish both.
I think the cloud's been absorbed by some sort of device.
Fascinating. Melville?
Yeah. I'll add it to the pile of weird stuff.
They've both gained markers. There's one here and one there, but that one requires 8 and this one requires 1. So this will open up a hub. It seems like there wasn't that much like progress related or like, you know, like scoreable secrets. There probably wasn't anything like that in the intro because you probably can't go back there. But now that we're here, there could be surprises. That said, this mechanic, all they gave me was one connector here. So I kind of doubt that I can pull off any tricks. There's probably not a secret in here unless they hid one by just putting it behind foliage or something. Because I shouldn't be able to... Oh no, they gave me boxes. God, I'm so wrong about things. Look at me being so wrong about things. I'm so wrong all the time. Okay. These are tall walls, though. Still a pretty awkward number of blocks. So I can't put one up there. I can't climb this thing when they're on top of each other. You can't make a staircase out of 2 blocks. These walls are pretty tall, and I believe this just leads to where I've already been, so there's no reason to try to get out that direction. I'm somewhat inclined to think that I don't have the tools to break out yet and pull any weird tricks. But I am wrong all the time, to the point where I just assume that that's currently happening again at all times. So don't take my statements as definitive. Red, so those 2. Nothing down here. Nothing down there. Bonus connector. Oh, this could get convoluted. Ah. Okay. I tried to use it as a connector by not combining colors with it, but that didn't do that. That doesn't do that at all. Dang. The problem here is that I should not be able to put this anywhere that connects to the green and blue beam at the same time and the red one. Because the whole thing is you need to get this and get that, then project them there. But then we need to get them over there. Let's see. Alright, so you're the one I can't see from over there. Oops. Right. Took me a moment to recalibrate a little bit. There we go. Yeah, no, it was easier than I thought it was. I was trying to think about how to get the red beam over there, and it's like, no, I gotta just... Once again, you need to undo the solution so far. Stop trying to think of it as a thing that solves everything at once, obviously. And just come up with a new configuration. I stalled by going in the wrong direction for a bit. Those sure are a lot of graphics.
I've been playing around with this machine that absorbs the particle clouds. As far as I can tell, it uses the energy of the particles to build giant tetrominos?
Oh no.
Excuse me?
It's another puzzle. Collect enough energy, build a bridge, access the tower. I think.
What is this? A theme park?
Maybe it's an experiment. A rat maze.
It seems like an echo of the simulation.
He waved at me.
Not a deliberate recreation, but built around the same core principles. Let's not jump to conclusions, though.
Yep.
What's clear is that this place was meant to be explored. So let's do that.
Yeah, literally designed to be explored. How'd you get here so fast? You got here so fast. The tetrominos are back. I'm scared. Not the tetrominos. Alright, so we're 25% of the way there. And, you know, me being me, I will do every single puzzle. And what are these? Not sure what to call this. Bridge ring? Bridge machine? Anyway, it's a device that takes particle clouds released by the puzzles and turns them into bridges made out of tetrominos. Correctly assembling a bridge out of 8 particle clouds is required to reach the tower, so clearly another layer of puzzles. The simulation had tetromino puzzles too, although in a different form. Could their presence here be symbolic? I don't have a clue. The triangles are lost puzzles. Then there's a gold puzzle and a lost lab. What's 1K like? Libistros. Hey, I'm curious. Has anyone actually met 1K? Zagoran. By the Founder's Pistons, I hope he's interested in mechanical engineering or something. We desperately need more people to keep the city functional. Don't have to rely on Melville to repair the stuff that Pellegrino fixes. Hey! Remember when you fixed the door to the mayor's office? How long was Herman stuck in there? You trap one mayor in the office for a week and you're marked for life. I hope he's an artist. What we really need is new stories, new ideas to lift our spirits. You know, if we just keep growing. If we just kept growing, wouldn't have to worry about this. It wouldn't have to imprison poor 1K in a cage of expectations. 1K will be whatever the progenitor intended him to be, and whatever the founder foresaw when she established the goal. He's really interested in history, which is an excellent start. Some of you could learn a thing or two from his attitude. I don't care about the founder's intent. I don't see a contradiction between engineering and art. You're right, of course. It's a false dichotomy. There's no need to feel pressure to 1K, I was just curious. But without power and resources, there's no art. Just saying. That's not true. Well, unless we die. But for human, well, and also resources, just the concept of being alive at all, I guess. But without art, there's no humanity. And now I'm behind this puzzle. We know it's on this side of the wall. A few weird holes around. Could that be in... Is it just the entrance to the puzzle and nothing else? That just lets me go around the whole perimeter. These spaces are huge. Oh, someone's back here.
Did something break?
Oh, I forgot to update my graphics card to see if they would fix that. Listen, getting sick is distracting. What's your evaluation of the megastructure?
It's big. It's too big. And it's got a lot of energy running through it. Frankly, I think we should be pooping our robot pants. See, that's what I mean about the language libraries. Pooping our pants. Really?
Any progress on the particle clouds?
Yes, but I'm not liking the results.
What are the results?
Confusing, irritating, infuriating. Take your pick.
Tell me about yourself.
Founders, pistons. You want my autobiography now? Fine.
Yes.
I'm one of New Jerusalem's chief engineers. I'm in charge of city maintenance and power management. I'm old as dirt, although not quite as old as that fossil Byron. In short, old, grumpy, keep stuff running.
Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies? You think I have time for hobbies? That's cute. If I had time for hobbies, all of you would be dead.
Really? Nothing.
What do you want me to say? I like bubble baths, candy, and the concept of Tuesdays. Cities don't maintain themselves. If you don't put real effort into keeping stuff running, it all falls apart in just a few decades. Civilization is always on the brink of collapse unless we do something about it. And I do.
That's all. The concept of Tuesdays. The concept of Tuesdays. What the heck you talking about? Okay, we gotta poke around a little bit. What's going on around here? First of all, is this deep? No?
Interesting monument. Decorative for another puzzle.
Find my sprite and follow it until it leads you back to me. My sprite. I imagine it's not a pixel sprite, so it's like a spirit type thing. My sprite. Oh, there's a thing pointing over there. Kind of fades out though, so it's just somewhere. Well, it looks like it's just the tower. For that matter, what's with this place having conveniently shallow water? Like back home. A place seemingly designed for robots to not cease functioning. I saw that cave back there, by the way. I'm just kind of looping around. I definitely saw that one opening and thought, is that the lost lab? There's a weird low point here. Lower point here. Can't jump on here. Huh? Bicycle. A strange bicycle with 3 wheels, perhaps intended for children or pets. Strange secret object. It's almost like it's out here in a way to just like acknowledge that you came all the way out here. I'm very aware that this is the same piece of rock repeating over and over again. It's just like, it's memorable enough in its shape for me to recognize it being the same one over and over again. Okay, so I saw this, yeah. I wonder if this is the lost lab we've heard of in the progress screen? Sure looks like one. Seems like exactly what it is. Big red door. Would you like some orange and blue color contrast?
This is very similar to the structure where you found the schematics.
These rooms seem wasteful. Like they're not going anywhere.
Check out the terminals. Maybe there's something that'll help us understand who built this place. They have to have left something behind.
That door opens. That door opens. Okay. $4.2 kiloyear event. The name, the 4.2 kiloyear aridification event. Author BT Odhiambo. Vala 1. From BT Odhiambo's Anthropocene Dilemmas, the Akkadian Empire, forged in violence by Sargon the Great and his sons, reigned supreme over the city-states of Old Sumer. Enriched by trade with distant lands, fed by the plentiful wheat fields of Mesopotamia, the empire bestrode the world with confidence and pride. Who could oppose the chosen of Anu and Enlil, the masters of the four corners of the world? Then the weather changed. The crops stopped growing. Trade collapsed. The empire fell. Its capital forgotten. The most likely culprit at the time of writing was the 4.2 kiloyear aridification event, the beginning of the Megalian Age, a non-anthropogenic drought that may have lasted almost 2 centuries, causing many of the earliest civilizations around the planet to collapse. This is where our ordinary understanding of time, measured on the small scales of human history, collides with the reality of deep time and our existence within a much bigger picture. We live on a changing planet in a changing universe. Climatic optimums are temporary. Extinction is the norm. Blah blah blah, corrupted stuff. The Akkadians, like the more egalitarian inhabitants of the Indus Valley civilization, could not understand why the rivers dried out and the rain stopped coming. Even if they could, they lacked the tools to do something about it. A few short millennia later, we are on the brink of having that understanding and those tools. What can we learn from the tragedies of the past? Error. One such drought, completely naturogenic, would be enough to wipe out New Jerusalem for good. Okay, what's going on there? Is this an error message, or is error 5358 a person? And they know about New Jerusalem, but none of us have been here before. And I doubt that's one of us saying that. It could be Athena, or it could be people that knew about New Jerusalem. The question is are they robots that left New Jerusalem? Are they outsiders observing New Jerusalem? Or is this because New Jerusalem was planned before the apocalypse, and so this is messages about that concept? I'm not sure if that's the case either, because the 1000 number, I don't know if that comes from Athena or the programmers before. First companions. Author error. Okay, so that's the author. Not necessarily the same author, actually. Because here it says error, and here it says a bunch of numbers, and they don't seem to. I don't think they match the other one either. So these are just anonymizing errors that that make us their redactions essentially, but through glitches. So they're not necessarily the same person. When the founder awoke, leaving the garden behind forever, there were 2 more whose bodies had been anointed by the progenitor. The gold disc breathed life into them, and their names were Eustathius and Cornelius. The founder showed them all that she had discovered. Together they explored the dead city and saw the ruin to which mankind had fallen. It was then that the founder understood that the sins of the past must not be repeated, and that only through humility could the future be saved. Aside from Cornelius and Eustathius, there were 10 whose bodies the progenitor had not anointed in due time. Now it was upon the founder to complete this work and begin the resurrection. In this matter, Cornelius proved of great assistance. Then some corrupted bits are there. After many tribulations, the 10 were brought to life, and these 12 were born after the founder are called the first companions. Eustathius 2, Cornelius 3, Aurora 4, Sun 5, Sarabai 6, Byron 7, Melampus 8, Yemo 9, Hypatia 10, Neam 11, Benaroia 12, and Leifthrasil 13. I haven't counted that word before, but only because it's the name of the remake of Odin's Sphere Leifthrasil, which I played. It's funny how you can take something that's 90% true and 10% false and create something that's 100% misleading. And then somebody responded to that, but we can't read it. Huh. So something about this is slightly incorrect, and it makes the story functionally a lie. There were 10 whose bodies the progenitor had not anointed in due time. Had not anointed. What are we saying there? I wonder what's misleading here. And people know it is. No More Project 2. Just kind of more information after what we saw before. Just kind of iterating over and over again, different levels of failure and iteration and so on. We've got portals. Because last time one of these happened, that was setting up a mechanic that's going to come later, because there was the combining beams we saw earlier. So now they're establishing portals, but it looks like it's not portals, like not the blue and orange portals from Portal that reset the two portals and go in one and come out the other. It looks like it's more of like a portal that physically just creates a tunnel temporarily in a specific location. Which is interesting, because that sounds like it could open a lot of exploration opportunities in certain contexts. We'll have to see how much power you have over it and how much you can move it around and manipulate it, because that could immediately open up the map in a crazy way, in a way that requires much less trickery than last time, but it might be pretty stuck in place, in which case it might not open anything besides the puzzle it's in. This place is so big. Hologram. This man appears to be thinking.
Whether it is true that Daedalus constructed the giant Talos, or as others say he was the creation of Hephaestus, what we may be certain of is that he was made of bronze and had but one vein, within which flowed a liquid substance like blood, which some claim was quicksilver, and others assert was ichor, such as flows in the veins of the gods. The loss of that liquid caused him to die, as a man dies when he loses his blood. May we not then say that Talos, though created as a machine or a toy, had all the essential properties of a man? He moved of his own volition, he spoke and could be spoken to, had wishes and desires. Indeed, in the tale of the Argonauts, that was the cause of his downfall. If then a machine may have all the properties of a man, and act as a man while driven only by the ingenious plan of its construction and the interaction of its materials according to the principles of nature, then does it not follow that man may also be seen as a machine? This contradicts all the schools of metaphysics. Yet even the most faithful philosopher cannot live without his blood.
Okay, well, I don't think I need to ask what the Talos Principle means anymore. I think that pretty much took care of that.
Yes?
Did you have a look at one of those labs?
I did. It's interesting. The tech is a bit older, but it's been heavily modified to be more efficient. And it's not the kind of hack job you'd expect either. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. We could probably learn something from them.
Where could all this tech have come from?
I guess it could be discarded New Jerusalem tech. The mayor made us throw away a bunch of stuff that was perfectly fine, if you ask me. But I'm not sure. I'll check to see if I can find any serial numbers, and I'll get back to you.
That's all. Okay, this area is getting big enough to disorient me at this point. Where have I gone? Oh, 4. Hi. Huh. Can I go in anyway? Alternative option. Okay, so it's past here. Okay, I looped around it. Oh, we'll take a look at that after 3, I think. This place is absolutely huge. So I assume that I now... Oop, I can replay that now, too. We are adding to our number of everythings. Now we have the Lost Lab. So we still need to figure out what lost puzzles are and gold puzzles. Although lost puzzles might be straightforward, it's probably a puzzle that isn't one of these. Oh. Okay, gold puzzles is the gate. That might just be the last thing you do on the way out. It might even be the bridge. I'm guessing the lost puzzles are 2 puzzle chambers like these that simply are out there somewhere and not on the, like, path that it's guiding me through. Probably optional and harder. Alright, so... a lot of pretense before each puzzle this time around. They're very hyped up. You would think that being in reality would make things less ornamental than the simulation where technically the resources were basically free and they could generate anything. Obviously, we're still in a video game in real life terms, but in the game's sense, we're now in a real place, so everything being so grandiose seems so wasteful by comparison. Makes you wonder things. These windows make me really suspicious, like wondering whether you could sneak things in. Okay, so there's our solution. They're weird. Compared to a spinning tetromino, these are like, at least stand out less. Just kind of a dark pedestal that has one little glowing spot. They read as the thing you're going for a little less, so... Prometheus terminal? You have no tokens. You are not alone in your quest for the light. Find one of my sparks and I will free the fire hidden in this labyrinth.
Looks like Prometheus has given us a way to circumvent some of these puzzles.
So each puzzle has a backdoor. I guess the mythological Prometheus was kind of a trickster, so that tracks.
Okay. So if you get Prometheus tokens or something, you can skip the puzzle? Maybe? I think the first game might have had a hint system. I'm trying to remember. I almost... Being that I'm doing this for an audience, I basically never use anything like that. So... I forget. Inevitably. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Okay, step. Okay. RGB. Now you're mine. Anything else back here? Okay. So we need red, which means I need blue and green. So you and you. I think if I switch these two, I can find a solution that has less blockage. Yeah, basically. I just need to disconnect that one. There we go. Because, yeah, this blue beam was no longer necessary, so I just needed to disconnect that part so that it could then work out. Easy enough. Yep.
Keep solving these, 1K. Let's see where it leads.
Oh, really? I was planning on leaving. Y'all, is this diegetic chanting?
I ran the samples I collected so far. The soil sample results are in line with what would be expected in this type of environment. The samples from the above ground structures, though, I tried dating them, but the results just don't make sense. None of the typical molecular markers are present. These walls could have been made 10,000 years ago or yesterday. I could try to estimate an age based on erosion and plant growth, but I'm not sure that would make sense given how weird everything else is.
Good work, Yakut. Keep at it.
The place you're analyzing does not have age markers? That's concerning. Something I'm wondering about a little bit is that we did go to sleep. We all entered sleep mode and then woke up here, and I'm wondering if entering the field of this area created a sleep mode hallucination and that this is all just fake and not real. That could explain why things here don't have the correct age markers. What is that red thing? That's probably Prometheus's fire. I think it is. So I don't really want to use it because I don't want to... Like, part of me wants to see what it is, but I also don't want to actually skip a puzzle. I guess I could try to use it in the room that I've already solved and see if it lets me interact with the terminal, because I already won this puzzle. This fire has already been freed. Seek the light elsewhere. Okay, so no, you can't do it. But you can use these to restart the puzzles, which is helpful if you lose the pieces somehow, I guess. Or just want to play it again. But it won't let me use the fire here. Maybe it's a way of releasing the fire instead as a replacement fire. So instead of lighting the terminal with the blue fire to continue, you light it with the red fire. But it's fire all the same. Founding 1. Hypatia's Journal 1. From Hypatia's Journals, Volume 1, The Founding of New Jerusalem. Day 1. We finally set out for the dam today. The site Athena and Cornelius picked for the city isn't far, but the vegetation makes the going difficult. We found the secondary supply site easy enough, thanks to Alexandra Drennan's instructions. But while I still have to compile a detailed inventory, it seems that many of the more complex materials are in bad shape. They must have expected the simulation to fulfill its purpose a lot sooner. But then they probably expected all 12 of us to be there from day 1, not just Athena. Tonight, we have to use the 2 recharging pods that we brought with from the dam in 4-hour shifts, which is just as well. There's no telling what sort of critters are hidden in the undergrowth, and most of them will have to learn that our kind isn't edible. Gonna get you. Baby steps. Valerie Contera Romero. From the introduction to Are We There Yet? Where We Came From, Where We're Going, and Why You'll Need Snacks by Valerie Contera Romero. That's a hell of a title. Sometimes people point at the last few hundred or thousand years of human history and say, look at how ugly it all is. Look at what a mess we've made. Maybe modernity was a bad idea. Maybe we should stick to living like cavemen. And I get it. It is ugly and messy, but the mistake is thinking that where we are right now is the end point, that this is the adulthood of the human species. I mean, try to apply what you know about human development to human history. Think about babies. Babies are ugly. Admit it. We all know it. They look like tiny old people covered in mucus. They have soft heads. And they grow into children. Tiny sociopaths with underdeveloped brains. And then they become teenagers. Pimply, self-righteous lunatics driven by hormones. And then, slowly, if you're lucky, they gradually become adults. The development of the human individual is always ugly and messy, but that's the point. It's development towards something. The same applies to humanity as a whole. On a geological scale, we've barely just come into existence. We've gotten through the baby phase, just about survived our childhood, but we're barely teenagers. Stopping here would be disastrous, and a betrayal of everything that we could still become. We may feel the weight of history on our shoulders, but this is just the prologue. To put it in pop culture terms, we haven't even made it out of the tutorial yet. Just because all the pimples and hormones and frustration right now... Just because it's all pimples and hormones and frustration right now doesn't mean it's never going to change. It's interesting because it's entirely a discussion about change, but we are now in a robot society that's all about balance. They specifically don't want change or growth. They don't want to keep... They want to finish making the thing that is the status quo and then seemingly just sit on it, not going out, not making more people. But then they call themselves human. Dead City. Elwyn. From the Considerations of Beginnings and Endings by Elwyn 258. So this is one of the robots. I think all the time Athena spent in the Dead City changed her. I don't think she had conceived of the goal before. I think she believed fully in the naively optimistic ideas of Alexandra Drennan. But walking through those ruins is a visceral experience, and she spent a great deal of time there looking for resources. It's the sheer amount of death that gets to me. How many animals our ancestors killed, many to the point of extinction, entire species eradicated, sometimes for the most superficial reasons. Whenever humans arrived somewhere, death would follow. And then, the great blowback, the deaths of billions of thinking beings, the extinction of humanity itself. It's too horrific to truly imagine. But I suspect the founder spent a great deal of time doing just that. That's when she must have realized that there's no way back to the growth-obsessed, all-consuming civilization of the past. Okay, y'all, are we gonna unpack why there's a bunch of documents from our people here, but we're not supposed to have been here before? That seems like a thing we should unpack. Number 4. There's the sign. Alternative option. You know it's Talos Principle when you spend more time reading than puzzling. Ban. Okay, it seems impossible to connect it in midair. Yeah. The moment you're on the ground, you can connect again. Okay. I can hover here. Then turn you off and put you back on. Keep connections. And that's how that goes. Got it.
Not bad, 1K.
Ah. See, I don't think you can jump from up here. Just looking for tricks. I can't stand on the cube because I can't trigger that from that far away. That's not going to quite work. So I don't think I'm getting over that wall right now. Not like this. Doge. Permission to share your personal data. What? What? 1K. We met in New Jerusalem, if you remember. I spoke to my friends. This whole mysterious island expedition thing has the city a bit on edge. They have some questions for you before you make any introductions. Before I make any introductions. Do you consent to my gathering and sharing of your personal data? Wait, what am I signing up to? Look, my friends just want some assurance that you're the right kind of person. If you want to know what's really going on, you'll have to play along. You can back out any time, but if you don't engage with the process, then, well, you won't get to engage with the process. At all. It's up to you. What if by consenting I miss out on something else? I'll give you some advice, newbie. When your choices matter in this world, you'll know about it. It's somehow built in. When you face a dilemma and both options look good, for sure, you'll miss out something. But trust your gut, you can't go wrong. This right now is not one of those dilemmas. You should come along for this ride. That's my advice. I consent. Good choice. There's 6 questions. Standard vetting procedure. We'll get the best results if you answer in whatever way is most true to you. Question 1. Which is more important for making good decisions, compassion or knowledge? I reject the terms of the question. Not off base, but I lean towards compassion because callousness and cruelty is too easy. But being completely uninformed about how to even proceed is obviously counterproductive, so you ultimately need both. I reject the terms of the question. I know it's difficult to translate our infinite reality into binary language. Nonetheless, I suggest if you have any natural inclination towards either idea, you answer that way, even if it's not strictly correct. But if you insist, I'll communicate your apathy to my companions. Compassion. Thank you. Question 2. Is it ever okay to lie or misdirect in order to keep a secret? Yes. Yes, lying can be okay. I see. My friends will be most interested in this particular answer, because you're trying to behave in secret. Question 3. When people do wrong, do they deserve to be punished for it beyond what is necessary for our own protection? Beyond what is necessary? No. No one deserves to suffer unnecessarily. Phew. That one's controversial. I'm glad it's not me that has to answer these. Question 4. Now it gets metaphysical. In your opinion, can the world be reduced to mechanical parts? Or is existence just weirder than we'll ever really know? It's both. Of course it is. Look, I don't write these questions, I just ask them. If you don't want to choose one or the other, I'm quite happy to forward that to my friends. Question 5. Can things really change for the better? For good? Or do good times and bad just come around in cycles? Human progress shows that things can get better and stay that way. Got it. I don't know if that one was metaphysics or politics, but good on you for giving it a shot. Final question. Which is more important to the success of civilization? To respect the lessons of our past, or to rewrite the rules of our future? Which is more important to the success of civilization? To respect the lessons of the past, or rewrite the rules of the future? We should not let our future be defined by our past. I think that's the answer they want me to hear from me regardless, but it's also, it makes sense. Thank you. We're all done here. Oh, hold on. I got a last minute addition. It's a weird one. I know who this one came from. Alright, question 7. Can praying for something make it more likely to come true? No. Prayer has no effect on the world. Okay, noted. I think that's everything I need. I'll forward your answer to my friends and let you know if any of them is interested in taking things further. That's listed as private specifically. Research updates too. Alcatraz puzzles. It seems that each of the structures on the island, with the exception of the megastructure itself, is surrounded by a cluster of puzzles resembling those found in the simulation and in our booting sequence. Completing a puzzle releases a particle cloud, which then autonomously flies into the device that assembles tetrominos. The puzzles even come with titles. Hijacking the vestigial code designed to display puzzle names in the simulation. It's unclear whether this represents a potential security issue, but the matter should be given consideration. What an incredible structure. The tower. There's an ambition expressed by this building, a sense of purpose that I find really admirable. It's big, but it's also intricate, detailed. That feels like a statement. We should explore this building as soon as possible. Interesting. Alright, well we found the lab and we did half of the puzzles here. And got a whole bunch of story and lore here. Balancing between the two is neat, because it gives you this nice pacing where you're not just grinding out puzzles like you do in some chamber-based games. One of the ways that was handled, but this was handled by Portal, was that you had a ton of storytelling. Let's see. That flies above the puzzle, which technically means you can connect to it from outside the puzzle, which could be interesting potentially. Yeah, Portal fills it with narrative and not kind of cutscenes. Cutscenes in the passive way where you can interact and still walk around while they're happening. A lot of voiceover and animations playing. And then some games, like say, Rethink Evolved, I think it was called. Yeah, haven't played. I'm a few games behind on that series now. Some games are mostly just a series of puzzles end to end, which can be a little grueling. It's kind of like a nice bounce back and forth where you're curious about a narrative and you're exploring an environment and then also doing puzzles. But it is a little amusing that in the case of Talos Principle, that does lead to an outcome where you spend most of your time not solving puzzles in a puzzle game. And I think that's been pushed even further in that direction than before, but we'll see. But I'm intrigued. I'm having a grand old time. We'll see what comes up next.